What is up? Welcome to the Existential Stoic podcast. Are you stuck? Did something just recently end for you? Are you kind of like lost, kind of in that middle area, don't know what to do with yourself? You're in luck. Today we're going to talk about how to begin again. It's going to be a quick fix. I'm Danny. I'm here with my buddy Randy. What's up, Randy?
Yo, Danny.
Did you ever have to begin again?
Oh my gosh. It's like the worst thing ever because once you feel like you have something figured out and then you don't, and then you feel terrible because you feel like you lost all this stuff that you never really had. Because, like we're born with nothing, we die with nothing, but we can lose so much in the middle. But then you lose it all, and then you're like, and then there's the whole I'll never get it back. And yeah, this has been a rough year for me. Like subjectively, I feel like I have to begin a whole bunch this year, and it's hard because it's like when you lose everything, it's actually the best spot because there's nothing left to lose, but it sucks so bad.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Well, you know what's funny too? It's like a double-edged thing because like on the one hand, it's awesome that we can begin again. Like you can keep beginning again and again and like until you get it right, basically. You can keep trying, which is like on the one hand, that's awesome. On the other hand, it does suck because every time it's really hard. Every time you feel like there is like I don't know if you feel this way too, but there's like that hint of like embarrassment, like you thought you had everything worked out and like you thought you had things
Mhm.
figured out, and now you got to like face the world again, but without all that stuff. It's
Mhm.
like and so yeah, it's just brutal.
Dude, and you know what's crazy is like so when I was swimming today, I was thinking, and it's like I'm always waiting for the other shoe to fall or the shoe to drop, whatever that saying is. Like, whenever things are going good, I'm like, just wait for it. It'll happen. And like I
There's
knew
synonyms,
this,
it doesn't matter.
yeah, and I knew this when things were good. I was like, oh man, it's not gonna last. Like I know that, and sure enough, it didn't. But then I'm swimming and I'm like, wait, but you can also look at that the other way because every time things have been going bad, the shoe has risen,
Yeah,
like
something
it's
happens,
eventually
right?
gotten good. So I was swimming and I was like, just wait for it. You know it'll happen. Eventually things will get really good again.
It's funny. That's like the whole thing about perspective, right? Like we put the meaning in. So like whether it's bad or good just depends on how you look at it, not anything else. And I think that is funny too. Yeah, I mean every time it's bad, right, it gets better. As long as you do something, it will.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So today you're in luck because we each have three tips to help you guys begin again if you're in that position. And so probably pretty, it's the new year, so that makes sense. I'm gonna start. My first one is don't wait, just begin. I think this is actually kind of important because like I know personally, like in the past, like I've wasted so much time when something ends or like when I realize something ends, like one, I won't admit it, so I'll deny it and drag my feet and end up getting stuck in something that's like not good for me or that I hate. And it just is like it's like a slow death, right? Instead of just like killing that horse, you drag it along the road or whatever there's some saying there, I think, or something.
Don't
So
beat a
anyway,
dead horse.
yeah, that's it. Except in this case, you are very slowly killing it.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so once you recognize it that it's over, just cut the cord, burn that bridge. There's another bridge. Find it.
How
Go look
many
for
others?
it.
Whose dog are you kicking? The sun will come out tomorrow.
I just figured I'd throw a bunch of sayings that don't work there.
I know, right? Oh my goodness. I don't even remember what we're talking about. I just have this image of like dragging a dead horse. Oh my goodness.
How do we get again? Anyway, so yeah,
Yeah.
so just start though. My point is
Oh,
just start. Don't
yes. Just,
because like I've wasted so much time in the past doing that too, where like it's just like a waste and you just feel miserable. And if you are miserable, just start. Just get it over with and do it. You know?
that's a great one because it is getting there or just getting it done. Like it's so easy to get stuck and poor me and all this stuff, but if you just get it done, eventually it'll get there. So,
Yeah.
my first one is it sounds simple, but it's not simple at all. It is accept where you are. And so many people have problems with accepting because they think that by accepting it, they had to approve of it or they have to condone it or they have to.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, acceptance means that life won. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Or
it.
they admit that it's or like it's admitting it's real, right? When it is real. And like
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like Life had its way
Yeah,
and suck it up, you know?
it always
If that
does.
means I have to suck up a big chubby, well then I'll just man.
Uh,
Arrested
uh,
Development course. Anyways, uh
yeah,
yeah, and that's like the hardest thing is accepting because it's not easy. And it's like that's the key to serenity. You can just be totally peaceful if you can accept it, but it's not. And I one of these things that where I have to begin again, it's like I still months later still can't even accept it. Like I I'm still like bargaining with the universe. Like come on, this can't be true. Like not
yeah.
possible. And it's just it's unreal.
Well, I think that's the hard part too, because when we refuse to accept it, we do exactly we drag our feet instead of starting again. So we prevent ourselves from moving forward to or being in the present, right? We're like we're kind of existing in the past in a state where we can't exist because reality's changed and that past is no longer the present, right? It's like that change has happened. So I think, yeah, I think you're right. I think you have to acceptance is the first step because that's going to allow you to break free and actually start anew. It's also going to allow you to actually face what is really happening rather than some made up fantasy that doesn't exist. Because you're right. I think we all do it though. We all want like, we get comfortable and we all want things to stay that way forever, but they're not going to. And then when they don't, we get upset, we cry, and we just keep wishing like, well, why did it change? Why? And instead of doing something about it
Why
and making things
me?
better. Yeah. Why
Oh
me?
my
Why
gosh.
me?
Like
Yeah.
so I mean that's the hardest thing is like so lucky in so many respects and it's still like why me?
Yeah.
Why?
Isn't it funny though how fast we like go to victimization? Like we're like, why me, poor me, blame the, you know what I mean?
As
It's
if this
like,
doesn't happen to everybody else, you know?
yeah, or as if you deserve something, or even if it's a matter of deserving, it's not. It's just stuff happens. It is what it is, right? And like, facing that. I like that one. That's a good one. My next one is so I guess if we're doing this in sort of order, once you once you admit reality, once you're gonna start again, then do yourself a favor, focus on really what matters to you. Because I think this is another thing where I personally in the past, I've had times where I've had to begin again and I did the wrong thing where I listened to other people or I let external obligations, pressures, stresses, dictate how I was going to begin or where I was going to go essentially. And I think that screwed me up time and time again too. It's you really have to focus on what matters to you and then, it'll be better than it was before, I think.
Yeah. That one's such an important one and it's another one that like sounds simple but it's super duper hard to actually know what's
Yeah.
really the important stuff because like you have to like weigh it all out and make value judgments and find the golden mean and like all this different stuff.
Know
It's
yourself.
yeah, know
It's
yourself
like,
and then like also you have to project yourself into the future and be like when I die is this okay that I did this like
yeah.
all this different stuff and yeah I was just thinking about that today because I used to smoke cigarettes and that was one thing that I got a lot of joy doing but it was something that like I I wanted to be someone who was just cool smoking cigarettes but then
Everybody does.
I but then like I kind of wish I was born like pre 1950s when they actually knew they were bad for you. Like back when Marlboro had like 3 out of 4 doctors recommend Marlboro or whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
then it would have been great because then it would have been all positive reinforcement. Like okay,
Yeah.
cigarettes are great, they feel
And you
good.
could smoke literally everywhere, like
Yeah,
all the time. It was awesome.
who cares? These people are coughing and they die early. That can't be related. Anyways, so yeah, but I think that's important finding out what's right for you because it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, sorry.
So to begin again, my second one, and this is going to be a long fix today, by the way, for everybody listening. Only
Apparently,
halfway
yeah.
through. So yeah, right. What matters is not where you are or where you were, but where you want to be.
Ooh.
So I've heard this from a couple different places. I heard it from Zig Ziglar. I also heard it from, I believe, The Magic of Thinking Big, and maybe even from Will Smith too. This is like a very like positive psychology type of thing, but there's a lot of meaning in there because like it doesn't matter where you are now, and it doesn't matter where you were. Well, really, all that matters is where you want to get, and that's cool when you begin again because guess what? You can lose everything, and you can get back even more than you ever had before.
You know, it's a really good one too, and I think that is the crucial thing is remembering that because when we're having a hard time beginning again, we're stuck in the past. And we're stuck in a past that doesn't even work for us. That's the funny part. We're fighting reality. And even if you wanted reality to stay the same, you were miserable anyway. It doesn't work anymore. So you really do need to start anew. And like you said, worrying about where you want to be is so much more important because you can do this over and over again, really until you get it right. That's the cool thing about life is like I realized that as I got older, it's like I remember, probably like 10 years ago, like being so stressed out because I was like, oh, I don't have time to start over. I don't have time to do something new. When in fact, I really did. I had plenty of time and I did. And now I feel I'm so much happier because you're on that path you want to be on, right? And it's like, so you might not get it right the first time. None of us do, I don't think. In relationships, in work, in a lot of things, we're not going to get it right the first time. Or we might even get it right for a little while and then things change and, whatever. You got to do something different. So, yeah, I like that one. It's a good one.
Isn't that the bitch of it that you're just talking about there, where it's not only the initial problem that you have, but it's also the feeling or the thought that like I wasted all this time or I'm this old already. I may not have a chance to do it. And like that's another thing I've been dealing with recently too. Like, man, how many times have I messed this up already? How much time have I got left? When am I going to get this thing right? Yeah.
It is weird though, because it feels like you don't. It there's a part of your head or your imagination. It's like I don't have enough time. I can't. But it's like we have so much time now. I mean, it's not like the past where like most people die before they're five, and like your life expectancy is like 30 years. We're gonna live to be like 80 or so productive years. You have plenty of time. Like keep trying,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as you start, at least you're doing what you want to do. All right, my last one. Finally, holy yeah, that's a long. My last one. And I think this is actually really crucial because with all of our other ones, is do a self-assessment. If you really want to begin again, part of that, like we've been talking about, is recognizing what's actually happening, facing reality, figuring out what you want. You need to actually know yourself. And I think doing a self-assessment is great, like taking stock of where you are, what you have, what's good, what's bad, what needs to change, and where you would like to go. Getting all of that as clear as you can. You might not get it right, but at least as clear as you can, and it'll make it so much easier to get started again in the right direction for you.
That is great because it gives you like that situational awareness. So
Yeah.
you can figure
So
out
many of
where
us
you are.
lack.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Just in a cloud. Yeah. And also, I mean, in doing it, I remember this thing from Norman Vincent Peale, Power of Positive Thinking, where some guy was saying, oh, I lost everything. And he's like, did you really lose everything? Your wife, is she dead? And he's like, oh no, I still got a good wife. She'll never leave me. And he's like, okay, so you got your wife. We'll write that down. How about your kids? Did they die? And he's like, no, no, no. I still have my kids. They said they'll stay with ever. And he's like, oh, well, kids, write that down. How about your house? Did that burn down? He's like, nope, still got the house. And it's like, still got the community, still got the friends, still got all this stuff. But it's like, it's so easy to think we lost it all and completely miss out on our blessings.
Well, that's the funny thing. Yeah, right. Our imagination goes wild and like we act like, and it's like the funny thing is too, is like even if something changes, you still have all your skills, all your experiences, all the stuff that you've built over your life. So it's like you're not even really starting new. You're starting, yes, you're starting again, but you're beginning with all this stuff that you have and all this knowledge that makes it easier every time.
It's like the ultimate cheat code.
Yeah.
Like you're game genieing it, you know?
Yeah, that's it. I miss those things. Those things were awesome. Dude, I had that for Game Gear. I love the Game Genie.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So my last one is wee little bricks. Just add little bricks. Or
Yeah.
just regular size bricks to it. Because I would say probably the most profound thing that I learned this year was that if you do something for 5 minutes a day, it's better than doing it one time a week for 3 hours. That means just a teeny little thing repeated every day is so much better than a huge thing one time a week, which was my always my problem because I would do this huge thing one time a week for like the first 3 days, and then there it would go. But like 5 minutes a day, it's so inconsequentially small that it can do something. And plus, it's like no matter how miserable I'm feeling, I can always just be like, "Come on, sack up, let's do it." 5 minutes and just do it. And then usually by the time 5 minutes come up, I'm like, okay, well now I'm just gonna do it. And you end up doing the
Yeah.
whole thing. But yeah.
I like that one too, though, because it's realistic, right? It's something you can always accomplish. You're never going to have a moment where you can't do it once you start because it's 5 minutes. 5 minutes is nothing. You're never in a situation where you're so busy you don't have 5 minutes. Everybody has 5 minutes, right? And like you said too, when you feel like crap, getting yourself to do something for 5 minutes is not impossible, and it usually makes you feel better. I like that
Yeah,
one a
and
lot
you
because
just
oh, go ahead.
well, it kind of relates to the first one you had where you just get started now and you just do a teeny little
Yeah,
bit today and then you do a teeny little bit tomorrow in the direction of what you want and then you get there.
yeah, and then you just keep going, right? And it's like every journey of 10,000 miles begins with one step, right?
Mm,
It's like they all say, every wall gets built one brick at a time. It's like you gotta
hmm
do those little things because that's what adds up to the big thing.
Yeah.
Boom.
And don't
So
try and
there
figure
you.
it all
Oh,
out. That's the bonus one. Don't
yes.
try and figure it all out. I remember when I was learning stuff back in the day when internet learning first came about, and there were these people who would always be like, well, "What about this and that and this and that?" And all these scenarios they had for like 5 years in the future, not 5 years in the future, but like it's like you gotta get your first customer first. So why don't you
Yeah.
just do the things to get your customer, and then you can worry about the other stuff later. Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny stressing about it. And you'll never get it right at all. It's okay. I think that's the best part because you can always go again. You can always start again every time, even no matter
hmm
how hard it
hmm
is. So there you have it. How to begin again. This is a quick fix. So now you guys all have all those tools. Good luck beginning again if you need to. We will be back later this week with a full length episode. Check us out on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Until then, though, later, Randy.
Later, Danny.